Hi, I'm Tom,
And I'm Tom.
and this is Cook TV, and this is the second part of our general discussion series. Because we're filming one after the other at the minute, no questions from you, but we're going to do a couple of the ideas. Basically, what we usually do when we're walking home from town, or we're on our own, is we just talk about politics. That's all we really talk about. So we thought that for this video, we'd really comic books, yeah, we'd really outline some of our political beliefs. So I let Greensway go first, outline some of his real core beliefs, and then I'll follow up.
Okay. Well, that's difficult.
Just outline a few.
Okay then. First off, I do believe in the end to austerity. I understand cutting things can be useful. However, I think it's completely unnecessary when you can raise taxes on those in it. I do honestly believe that you could really solve most problems by raising taxes on the richest earners.
But then some austerity does make sense.
Of course, yes, some austerity does, but I mean to the degree that we're having it done at the moment.
Yeah, but when we say some austerity makes sense, we're talking more. For example, if a department, not something like defence, because with defence, when you have a surplus, you can go and spend that completely straight away.
No.
Well, I'm talking something like environment. I don't know. Like another department who really does end up with a surplus. You just simply, rather than that keeping those money in their coffers, you just go and put it towards the government debt or the surplus reserves deficit.
We're going to be going to the chimney as well.
The surplus, whatever you've got, to try and add towards it. And obviously, if that department needs more money next time, I'll just give it to them. But then you carry on. I just want to say that you can carry
on. Yeah. Well, essentially, I believe in the end to austerity in that way, and not in the sort of sensible way. Next, free movement of people. But I would only have this in a world where either there is literally no government at all, or a world where there is one government. So this is where
Empire.
This is where I'm either the most libertarian person in the world or the most authoritarian person in the world. I would love the idea of one government would be amazing. However, in my opinion, it just can't be just. Those
have a massive war.
Tom, don't.
Anyway,
Tom, I know you want the British Empire.
Next point.
You damn imperialist. Next point. I believe in nationalisation, mass nationalisation of our goods. I understand that this is very risky, but time and time it's shown again that when something becomes privatised, it degrades in quality.
Not necessarily.
Well, look,
cinemas have never been nationalised.
I'm talking about things that were national and then become privatised.
I don't know.
Because, okay,
I've never been on a train, so I can't really comment on that.
No, it's not. It's just research and
state your sources then. I to be honest, I don't really believe in nationalisation. That's why I question it. But I think some things. Oh, is that it? I'm trying to talk my mind now. Can you hit your light on to listen to that?
Yes, for sure.
Some things, have to be nationalised. For example, one example I do believe, there shouldn't be private prisons. They just shouldn't. It makes no sense. Why do you have a private prison unless it's a prison for profit?
Well, that's the point of them.
I know, but that's what I mean.
It's wrong. It's just...
prisons should be nationalised anyway. I think that in terms of private healthcare, you should have the option to go private. In terms of the army, sure you can have security firms, but you should never privatise the army. Obviously, you privatise your arms manufacturer if you want to.
Police never should be privatised.
Police never should be privatised. There are some things, for example, I could survive with things like rail and all that being privatised.
Nationalise the internet.
Privatised.
Human rights.
But again, some things.
Back to the previous video.
Some things I really do think that sort of belong privatised. Things such as rail. Things such as but I don't think city buses aren't privatised, are they?
Well, I don't know.
I know coaches are.
Trains shouldn't be privatised because they were in the public and then they were sold off.
Yeah, but actually they were in the private, then they were in the public, then in the private, then in the public.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
It's really, they began in the private.
When something is public, it belongs to the British people. It does not. You should not be able to sell it off.
They started privately. And the government sort of seized control, didn't they?
It's true, but if we seize control, then it should remain in a national...
But then, what if the another government thinks, I don't want this? Then it's their right to give it away.
No, it should be the people's right, because it belongs to the people.
Were the people asked when they originally wanted to nationalise it?
I have no idea.
Well, they probably weren't.
Probably not, no.
To my knowledge, they weren't. So, you know what I'm saying, don't you? I mean, if you say it's the people's right for that, then surely it's people's right to privatisation, or you make the same argument either way.
Of course.
I think it's just up to the current government of the day, really. I mean, I think, in terms of economics, I don't really have that much of an opinion on economics. It's not really where I focus.
I love economics.
I think that corporation tax shouldn't be as low as it is now. Still at 19%. It's low, too low. I think they should end on DOM status. I think there should be separate tax rates for smaller businesses and high businesses in order to allow more people to own their own business. I focus more on foreign policy, and I think that Britain should not relegate, give up its control over the remains of its empire. Places like the Falkland Isles, the British territory in the Indian Ocean and stuff like that. I think that we should retain our position as one of the most powerful countries in the world. I was watching a test tube video a couple of weeks ago, and it said that Britain is the most influential country in the world in terms of soft power. Basically, for our connections and stuff like that, we are the most influential country. Because we have the threat of...
Basically, we have past murder, not current murder.
No, it's
and
not,
possible murder.
It's not even that. It's because we have the world's most effective army. We can deploy 70,000
So
troops.
possible murder.
Yeah, possible murder. We can deploy 70,000 troops to any position in the world within 48 hours of an ordinary nation. We have the world's top spec forces, the SAS, obviously. We have good relations with almost all the world powers. Even Russia, we still have a relationship with Russia. Obviously, the special relationship with the States. We have the United Nations. We have NATO. We have the G8, the G20. No, sorry, the G7, the G20, and all that. We have the European Union, which I'm always skeptical about, and also we have NATO. So really, we are, and obviously you have the Commonwealth Council, with countries like Australia and Canada. So really, we are, when you think about it, a very influential country. It's really amazing to think that we've become one of the most influential countries, and yet we're a tiny island in. Off the coast of France.
In Europe, Tom.
In Europe. I know. I was trying to think of the ocean we're in. I can't remember it.
One of them.
In
Europe. One of the Europe oceans.
So it's really fascinating to think. But mainly,
so
my main sort of view of the world is that we should spend a hell of a lot more on defence. We should have a department of veterans to look after our veterans.
I agree, actually.
We should have more programs for people.
You're actually acting like a politician.
It's a speech now. It's a speech.
Because watch any sort of parliament thing, and when they go up in this time, they will do this when they talk. They wave it or one. He's doing the exact. Look,
I don't care.
He was genuinely doing it.
I was in the joke zone then. We'd have the Department of Veterans to look after our soldiers when they get home. Because at the minute, the veteran care in this country is atrocious. We should have more programs to allow veterans to get back to work. I think there is one program that is veterans to teachers. I think the more ex-military should go into teaching, so it'll sort the kids out. Because they're fucking idiots nowadays. I think that we need to. I'm not sure what I was supposed to say. You're a fucking idiot.
You're a fucking idiot. Fucking idiot.
That's not what I was saying. That was you. Cut our veterans. Blah, blah. Oh, right. And there should be an option for homeless people to join the army.
An option.
Not forced. And also, if we go into a full-scale war, then they should be the first conscripted. It makes sense. Rather than wasting factory workers and stuff like that, you use the homeless because then they will get paid, and really there should be more work done to try and get homeless people into the army. That's my view.
Or just into regular jobs.
Yeah, but the thing is,
what they prefer,
or any national jobs. But the thing is, with the army or any armed forces, it's easy to get it in terms of they can give them a house straight away.
Yeah,
because you can go in the barracks, can't you? That's where my thinking came from. Obviously, if you get them into any regular job, then they'll have to go and live in a hotel so they can save up.
Yes.
Whereas if you get them into the military, then they will live in a barracks or a ship or on an air base. You know what I'm saying?
Or to get them into a council home.
Yeah, but then you have to try and make room. That's
build more council homes.
Yeah, but then you need money for that. And
it
takes time to build homes.
Raise taxes.
No, but it takes time to build homes. Which is
that's an immediate policy.
That's where my rationale came from. Is that if you get them into the military for say 5 years, you can build them a council home. They got a couple of grand pay under their belt. Because obviously it's subsidised rent, board, accommodation and board in the army. and they live somewhere for the next 10 years.
10 minutes, we should get ready, close to
Yeah, I was about to do it. That's what I was waiting. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was the House of Lords. And obviously, as some may know, there are 26 archbishops of the Anglican Church in the House of Lords. They sit, I think it's 26 or 28, something like that. Around 20, late 20s in the House of Lords, and they sit and they help legislate. I have no problem with that. However, what I do believe is that there should be sort of a representation of the majority of religions in the country. So there should be. They should go by region, like the archbishops. It should be like, for example, the top imams, the top Jewish leaders, the top druids, and the top Buddhists, and what's the one which I think I'm missing out?
Judaism?
No, Sikhs. I said Jewish, and the top
yeah.
Sikhs. So say they're the top 6 religions. I'm not sure if they are off the top of my head, but they should then have representation in the House of Lords. Also, I'd love to reform the House of Lords. So there's a system that I work under in Wales called the Additional Member System, AMS, and how it works is you have your MP, your constituency is elected by first past the post, and then you have like a regional MP that is elected via a proportional vote. And how I would do it is you have the proportional, you have you vote for your MP, and then you vote for a party, and that party then, say you have your vote for your MP, and whoever wins MP goes to the seat. Then the party is nationwide. For example, if Labour gets 35% of the vote, then they get 35% of the seats in the Lords. If Tories get 36, they get 36. If SB get 12%, you follow how it works, and that's how you would elect the House of Lords. You would give the House of Lords more power and more sort of legitimacy.
Yes, sure. I'm zoned out. I may agree, may disagree with this policy. I think
it's my AMS House of Lords plan.
Oh, essentially, then I think either we have all of the kind of religion.
No, I said that, and then my other one about them being elected by a additional member.
I agree, but again, we should have all or none. That's common sense.
I have no problem with the Anglican being there because obviously the Queen's head of the church and blah blah blah. So that's that for this video, guys. I guess I will see you next time.
Yes. Peace. See you guys later.
Why do you